Hi, everyone. It's Elizabeth Voss, Editor-in-Chief of Disobedient Media. I am so honored to be with Suzie Dawson, journalist, activist, and current leader of the Internet Party of New Zealand. And we're going to get started really soon with Decipher You. So thank you for being here with us.
Yay, I can see us. We're live. Hey, everyone. Sorry that you had to wait for us as usual.
Internet Party of New Zealand.
Oh, there we go.
And,
that's not me this time, is it? Is it me? Yes,
so
it is. Even though I press mute, it just auto plays sound anyway. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Bridget. Hi, Fly. Hi, Shelley. RSFO. Who else is here? Lots of people already. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, and we're hoping that we can actually finish batch 4 tonight because we don't have that many documents to go. Before we get started, Elizabeth had somewhat of a hit article out in the last 24 hours about some of the findings in the series. Yeah. And I saw today that actually Lionel from Lionel Nation picked up on your article and did a video about it, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. I was really impressed that he mentioned us. It was really great. He mentioned Zero Hedge, but he was quoting from our article, so that was awesome.
Yeah, I saw he linked the Disobedient Media article too in the video info section, so that's really awesome. Do you want to just show us a little bit of the article?
Yeah,
we'll read through. Sure. It'd be really, really cool, and I'll just bring up the documents and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, I won't share screen because I'm going to try and keep this brief, but I think it is good to just briefly go over so that people either that are just joining us or that want, basically the thing is whether you're new with us or have been here a while, it's great when we can show you the content that we've created from this process that you've been collaborating with us in. So I'll just dive right into it. The first paragraph was, I just said that Disobedient Media previously reported on the Senate's passage of legislation that reauthorized a section.
Slowly.
Sorry, I've read this twice today, so I'm zooming past. And the thing is as well, I only want to read one paragraph from the start, and then I'll just go straight to the Decipher You information. So restarting that, I wrote that Disobedient Media previously reported on the Senate's passage of legislation that reauthored a section of controversial FISA law. Since publishing that article, President Trump tweeted that he had signed off on the legislation despite widespread calls to veto the bill. FISA laws were initially implemented in 2008 under President Obama and were set to expire last week. And then, I give a decent amount of context for that, for FISA, and the fact that that basically CNN and the Heritage Foundation both said practically the same thing. And if you are interested in reading that, then go right ahead and check out the article. And it's also on Zero Hedge. But skipping to the Decipher You findings, I wrote that the NSA targets political dissidents and American citizens provides legitimate cause for concern over the passage of FISA reauthorization. The issue is compounded in the light of recent Decipher You findings showing that the NSA also actively attempts to avoid government oversight. On the same day that Trump tweeted that he'd signed FISA Section 702 reauthorization, Suzie Dawson and this author analyzed a never-before scrutinized Snowden file that showed the NSA endorsing an employee who had interfaced with Congress and who advised the NSA to move to avoid legislative oversight. The file in question was titled, quote, "Why do we overclassify? Do we overclassify, and are we sharing enough information?" And in the article at this point, I link the 1 hour clip of our stream where we discussed this file. And then I wrote that Suzie Dawson, a journalist, activist, and current leader of the Internet Party of New Zealand, noted that the unnamed author was effectively telling the entire NSA staff that the Senate Intelligence Committee should not be allowed to set the terms for reform of the NSA, and that such a revelation is both disturbing and relevant in regards to the current issues surrounding FISA. The file contains an incredible statement made by the unnamed individual whose role was at one time to interface between the agency and Congress. They wrote, "My worry," and this is a quote from them, "My worry is that a consensus is building within Congress that they need to take action to deal with this problem. Trust me, we don't want that. We need to address this issue so that the solution is one of our creation and not one that is imposed on us from the outside." And in the article, I have a screenshot of that particular passage in the file. And I said that during the Decipher You stream, Dawson commented on the contents of the document. they, Congress, are mandated by law to set the terms under which the NSA operates. The NSA does not have the mandate to set the terms under which it operates. But this entire document is saying the NSA needs to set their own rules and boundaries. Dawson continued, oversight is there because the NSA does not work for the NSA. The NSA works for the public. The congressional overseers are the elected representatives of the public. It is their job to set the borders and boundaries of what the NSA can do, what its mission is, why it does that mission, and how it can do that mission. The author of the file discusses their experience as an interface between Congress and the NSA, as well as having served as, quote, the budget monitor for all of the NSA's programs as part of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. They recounted participating in the NSA's Legislative Affairs Office, which is tasked with interfacing with the Congress and controls the communications with legislators, determining which information lawmakers receive. Dawson explained, if you're in the NSA, you are not allowed to talk to Congress without going through this office. Their job is to whitewash and micromanage information that reaches the oversight committees. So this person was a part of that office and has come out of that office and is 100% resistant to oversight. She added that the SIDToday document had gone out to the entire NSA workforce, which indicates that the NSA endorsed their sentiments. The document states, my second first job at the NSA was on the Senate team in the Legislative Affairs Office. This job afforded me the opportunity to utilize the experience I had gained working on Capitol Hill to help the agency's senior leaders develop a successful strategy for dealing with Congress. This was a particularly challenging and rewarding time in my career. The NSA's disturbing level of independence from legislative oversight was also discussed by The Atlantic in 2013. In a representative democracy with a bicameral legislature, Congress was surprised to find that a federal intelligence agency that they had scarcely heard of was bigger and more powerful than one they'd created, and they had created the CIA. Even after post-Vietnam cutbacks, the NSA counted 68,203 staffers in 1978, making it bigger than all other intelligence agencies combined, and it was unlike other intelligence agencies. Despite its size and power, no law has ever been enacted prohibiting the NSA from engaging in any activity. There are only laws to prohibit the release of information about the agency. No statute established the NSA, former Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Frank Church reported, or defines the permissible scope of its responsibilities. The CIA, on the other hand, was established by Congress under a public law, the National Security Act of 1947, setting out that agency's legal mandate as well as the restriction on its activities. In addition to being free of legal restrictions, the NSA has technological capabilities for eavesdropping beyond imagination. And that was all a quote from The Atlantic. As this author discussed with Dawson during the Decipher episode relating to this finding, the document completely undercuts any pretense that the NSA needs powers, including FISA, to protect the American people and the rest of the world. Primary source information, of which this document is a particularly important example, adds to the growing number of important findings stemming from Decipher. The files shed light on current issues, including the passage of legislation renewing FISA Section 702, and the implications stemming from the overreach of the NSA as a result of such legislation. Disobedient Media will continue to report on the important discoveries from never before scrutinized Snowden files as they emerge. And that was the second half of the article, which you are, free to go read if you're interested in that. So, Susie, you're muted, by the way. No, I've done that.
I was just praising you. Just saying that it's so cool. Well done, well done. I know that got a huge amount of traction, a huge amount of attention. So really, really great effort. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I'm really happy to start to try to report on individual findings that are really important like that. I think it's really good to show people that we're not just researching, we're also writing. And I know that you do that as well. So we'll look forward to seeing what you write about it.
Well, if we can get through this batch tonight, then I'll have a big job on my hands, which is to go and write up on decipheru.com the total summary of findings from the entire batch, of which must be 10, 12, 14 episodes or more, I think.
At least.
Fortunately, I've got all my notes already. I don't have to watch through everything, but it'll be good to see actually how far that one goes.
It'll be a project.
So I'll move on with screen sharing, and we'll get into the documents. So who's responsible for information needs? Only game in town, is that where we're up to? I know we did the information needs one, so.
I believe we're up to Only Game in Town Part 1.
Okay. Here we go. The only game in town from the Intelligence Analysis Intern. It's in Pakistan. I think this was reported on by Intercept.
Well, that's helpful.
The fusion cell in Pakistan, I'm pretty sure that it was. So I'm going to skip that. And the second part. Okay. Moving along. And that's a repost. We've already covered that one. 2004 was a roaring success from MG Richard Quirk and Charlie Mills. This is the number 1 and number 2 at NSA. And I'm just going to sneeze. Hang on 1 second.
You're fine. Yeah, I can't actually, my cursor isn't showing up, so I can't minimize the picture of you, Susie, and because of that, I can't read this. So you go ahead and read it, and I'll figure it out.
Have you tried exiting full screen? There should be an exit button.
Oh, I know there is. I've done it before. It's just literally my cursor isn't showing up, and I'm afraid that if I hit escape, that it's gonna like quit the Zoom chat or something ridiculous.
Okay, I'll read it for you. SID leaders encourage workforce to take a break during the holidays. As the end of the year draws near, we'd like to thank everyone who's part of the US SIGINT system, global enterprise, our military tactical SIGINT force, and indispensable enablers. Nice choice of word.
I love that they put it in quotation marks too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
For your unprecedented team efforts in providing key intelligence that our customers have put to such good use. Our nation depends on us, blah, blah, blah. You've risen to incredible challenges, blah, blah, blah.
You're so wonderful.
Feel good, feel good. Throughout this demanding year, we've continued to transform ourselves into a 21st century network-centric enterprise, allowing unprecedented collaboration and freedom in the execution of our duties. Oh, there's no question we have a long way to go, but we've made so much progress, blah, blah, blah. They're literally just telling people have a holiday, have a great holiday. Next year, the war will continue and our challenges will increase, as will our opportunities. I don't see anything here, no. It's just a pretty boring HR feel-good document, so I'm just going to move on.
Yeah.
Improved Dragon View introduced from the Target Knowledge Branch. That is the first I've heard of TKB.
That's interesting. I haven't seen that either.
In September, we told you about a powerful visualization tool called Dragon View. Since then, we've released a 2.0 version with major enhancements, provides new data layers, support for new map formats, and even a basic geolocation capability calculated from the signal strengths of collected packets. Additionally, Dragon View now processes BootP and DHCP and features an improved unique beacon filter. I assume that somewhere the release notes are published. Can someone see if there's release notes published for Dragon View on edwardsnowden.com? Because it was release notes that we got for Traffic Thief that were on edwardsnowden.com. So possibly these release notes that they are referencing.
And what's for Dragon View? Okay.
Dragon View, just look for Dragon View release notes. Our team's next major goal is to release an unclassified version of Dragon View. So this is something that we've come across recently, which is that they are creating versions of their internal programs, their software, for different classification levels, which then can allow them to make the functionality not necessarily the data, because the data will depend on the classification, but they can make the functionality available to a wider range of customers, which means more money, basically, for the NSA. So I'd be interested to look at any release notes that are available on edwardsnowden.com for any of the programs. But since this one is specifically referenced there, it's probably worth checking out. Other than that, there's nothing in there I don't think that is particularly interesting. It's just it's an upgraded version of something they'd already put into use. This link for can'tslowdown.pdf is not working, Croc2. So I will just go to Intercept and find it myself.
It's good to get through a few without having to spend an hour talking about them, although that was really awesome last time that we did that.
I think we might, I've got the feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, but I've got the feeling that we're going to get off pretty light tonight, actually.
Maybe, yeah.
That will move quite quickly. So on Intercept, I should be able to filter by release, which is what you guys want to do if you're ever searching on our findings on the Intercept site. And then what we call batch 4 is in fact release 4. And then I'll search on here we go, can't slow down, and bring up the document. I'll just bring up the text size as well, but make it easier for you guys to read. Can't slow down from Deputy Liaison Officer of CanSlow. From August through December 2003, SIDToday published a series of articles on second-party SIGINT cooperation. So we would be very interested in this because second-party cooperation is the Five Eyes. So this is Canada, New Zealand, Australia, America, and UK, and that grouping.
Yeah.
Canada's CSEC, well, they're saying the Communication Security Establishment, which is even more broad than Canada's CSEC, has its turn in the limelight on August 27. So they're going to profile them. However, the CSE article it's past tense. However, the CSE article had a glaring omission. It didn't say anything about us. We are the Canadian Special Liaison Office, so they are the conduit to NSA on the Canadian side. And they're at NSA HQ. So this means that the unfortunately, because I'm browsing on Intercept, I can't highlight the sentence. But what this means is that the liaison offices are situated at the NSA. So the NSA actually has Canadian spies, Australian spies, presumably probably a New Zealand spy, and UK spies physically on site at NSA. We also know there are NSA liaison officers on site within the Five Eyes spy agencies. So it's not just that they have like a paper partnership, they physically have personnel available.
Interesting.
Okay. Articles about NSA's second party partners often start in the past with a historical overview of partnership. While we value CSE's shared history with NSA and believe there is much to learn from it, CanSlow's focus is on the future. The chief of CSA has made CanSlow accountable for the health of the CSE NSA partnership. They're obsessed with the word health, which is ironic considering they assist with killing people for a living. Yeah. And that means not just keeping it alive and well today, but ensuring that it can, sorry, I find this hard to read, the health of the relationship and keeping it alive and well. Well, be sure not to target them with a drone strike then, but ensuring that it continues strong and productive for years to come. But what is a healthy partnership?
It's a really great example of newspeak, you know, like where it's reversing what it means. And so, yeah, anyway, but and that's definitely, it's a repeating kind of metaphor we're seeing these documents now that we haven't really seen in earlier ones. So I wonder if that's like a buzzword somebody thought of in a meeting somewhere and they decided to put into everything. I don't know, but
you know how in criminal organizations, when gangs or whatever, they're recruiting on new recruits, they involve them in serious crimes so that they're equally culpable for them, so that they then have their loyalty going forward because they've got the dirt on them.
Yeah.
It's just occurred to me literally this second that's what they're doing with the Five Eye Partners. So we know from Snowden docs that Australia, Pine Gap, is involved in the drone targeting missions, that New Zealand is involved in drone targeting missions. We know Germany and others are involved in drone targeting missions. I get the feeling that NSA, what's the correct word, not just disperses responsibility, but they're involving the international countries, partners, in these dirty missions.
Yeah.
To, in a way, not just legitimize it, but in a way make it like it incentivizes them not to ever blow the whistle on it or question it or whatever, because they become equally culpable.
Yeah, it cements the bond between them for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just pervasive. Okay. Keeping it alive and one day, ensuring continuous right, strong and productive. What is a healthy partnership? Another article in last year's SIDToday series mentioned the continued effectiveness of cryptologic collaboration. Effective collaboration is definitely part of our healthy partnership, but we think there's even more to it. NSA is CSE's most important cryptologic partner, and we in turn want NSA to view CSE as an important partner, not just historically or anecdotally, but in real, current, and practical terms. And see, there's this dependency relationship that they have. So they say that the second tier parties are all equal, like they're literally on one tier. But what they've done is they've made it so that, you know, Canada's most important partner is the USA. Australia's most important partner is the USA. New Zealand's most important partner is the USA. It's like this dependency. So like we're all partners, it's collaborative, we're in it together, we do it all together, but your most important partner is the USA.
Yeah, it's like a manipulative relationship of any kind where you have that you create that dependency. Yeah, for sure.
Chancellor is working with CSE HQ to develop a partnership framework which will entrench a corporate culture of always seeking opportunities to make valuable, tangible contributions to NSA.
Of course, of course.
And how does a liaison, so it's, they leech the resources and the expertise off the partners, but at the same time they tell the partners, we are your most important, valuable relationship, even though we are literally sucking everything that you have to give us and then deciding which parts of what we have we'll give back to you.
Exactly, yeah.
And how does a liaison office keep a partnership healthy? In many ways, it's like keeping a person healthy.
They really love that metaphor, don't they? I really am thinking, because we're seeing so much emphasis on it, and because we haven't seen this before, it really does sound to me like somebody like brainstormed that in some sort of group meeting, and they just go, yes, we love it, put it everywhere, you know? Because they just...
Because we didn't see this in the first three batches. Yeah. The word healthy was never, ever used.
Exactly,
This is the second document in a week, and in this batch, almost back to back, that has contained this constant reference to healthy relationships. There's absolutely nothing healthy about these relationships. These relationships are effective. Okay, rant time means I get out of screen share for a minute. These relationships are traitorous relationships. They are not healthy relationships. In these relationships, the second party partners hoover up the data of their own citizens, of the people who they are supposed to serve and protect, and they send it to a foreign nation. They don't even send it. They sell it to a foreign nation. That is treason by definition. If any single person in New Zealand with access to private data of New Zealand citizens takes it and sells it to a foreign government, that is treason. It's literally treason. So this relationship, this healthy relationship, is in fact industrialized, institutionalized treason on a massive scale. Total, utter treason, which I don't believe any public of any country in the world approves of. If you say to a single person in New Zealand, do you want the spy agencies to sell your data to America? Not one New Zealander will say, yes, that's a great idea. Do it. I'll feel so much safer. None of them will ever, 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 ever tell you that. Yeah. So this is the spy agencies doing it for the benefit of the spy agencies and their customers. It has absolutely nothing to do with the public.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
Rant over. Back to the document. How does a liaison office keep a partnership healthy? By bending over backwards to suck up to the NSA is what it sounds like. In many ways, it's like keeping a person healthy. Oh my God.
Did they just say it? Wait. Are we rereading that?
I think someone needs to read this that can actually read it with a straight face, because honest to God, I can't believe what I'm about to read. How am I going to say this with a straight face? Just as a good doctor will know as much as possible about the patient. Oh my God. Yes, it's just like going to the doctor, having your personal data sold to a foreign country. It's just like going to the doctor for a checkup.
Susie's like, mic drop, walk out.
What the hell? Like, who wrote this? And usually for any new viewers, I'd just like to point out that usually we just read through the document like straight with no commentary, and then we go over and analyze it. But I can't even read this without having a fit. The NSA says that giving them all of the private data of your citizens, which is treason, is the same as going to the doctor for a checkup.
Well, it does. They both do involve personal, private information that should never be shared. But the outcome of that is a little bit different, usually, I hope. But somebody, you can tell reading this, somebody really is so proud of themselves that they came up with that metaphor. You can just feel it. You know? They're just so like buzzed, like, man, I have a great analogy, and I'm just going to put it everywhere that I write.
I can't believe my eyes. I'm just going to screenshot that because it is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever in my life heard.
To keep the nation healthy, the NSA is really required to get in there and know everything about everyone, right? I mean, that's really necessary and helpful. And without that, see, that creates the issue that without that, all of us would just die, you know, like we would just all cease to be able to function without the NSA's wonderful surveillance of us all. So that imagery is just wonderful. Like you said, it's like it's definitely creating that false dependency for sure. I'm gonna check on chat really fast and see what the outrage looks like.
You can just see the tweet that I'm sending right now. I can't believe my eyes, honest to God.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I can really sense that somebody was extremely proud of themselves when they wrote that, and that I really genuinely feel like this was probably brainstormed somewhere. And so, you know, when somebody came up with it, the meeting was like slapping him on the back, going, "Oh yeah, wonderful." That's just my off the cuff interpretation of that. Yeah, and then Cassie R said, violation of HIPAA laws in the US are a very serious, heinous metaphor of comparison. Absolutely. I think that's really concerning. And that's actually been one of my concerns is as medical records have shifted from paper copies to digital copies, I've thought about that. The fact that the NSA probably does actually have access to all of it. Legality is completely aside.
That's actually one of the scariest aspects of what they do is the fact that they can access your medical records. It's actually worse than that. It's not just that they can access your medical records, which are largely unencrypted in New Zealand, at least. Most of the doctors' databases and stuff are actually completely unencrypted at a GP level. But it's worse than that, because then the GP goes and orders your prescription or whatever and script and sends it to the chemist. And then the chemist databases are all unencrypted as well, which makes you wonder, like, at some point in the future, if not already, that a malicious player could actually manipulate that data.
Yeah.
Could actually manipulate your medical record and or your prescriptions.
Yeah, exactly. If somebody wants to harm you in an off the record type of way, all they would have to do is manipulate, a vulnerable person's prescription, and it could really, really seriously result in a bad outcome. So it's absolutely horrendous.
In my head, just as a good doctor will know as much as possible about the person.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the document. Just as a good doctor will know as much as possible about the person, Canslow gathers information on the most bilaterally relevant activities and plans at both NSA and CSE through research and contact with subject matter experts on both sides of the border. Unfortunately, we know for a fact that they don't just gather information on bilaterally relevant activities and plans. In fact, they just allow the NSA to tap the cables and everything is collected, all of it.
Yeah, everything.
That's a tall order for a team of 6. Currently, our office comprises Senior Liaison Officer, 4 Deputy Liaison Officers, and an Office Administrator. We divide the load based on our respective... See how many people are in Canada? And it only takes 6 of them to sell Canadian sovereignty to the NSA. We divide the load based on our respective expertise in SIGINT, InfoSec, and enabling corporate functions. What do you do for a job? I enable corporate functions.
Pays the bills.
Lieutenant Colonel someone is a recent addition to our team as Canslow's first ever military liaison officer, allowing us to greatly increase our knowledge and understanding of the military aspects of our partnership. However, we still see room to improve. So over the next few months, we will be taking a fresh look at our organizational structure, staffing, and division of effort with a view to evolving a more strategically focused Canslow. Of course, Canslow may be the partnership's general practitioner, but we don't pretend to be the expert authorities on all business lines. Just as your family doctor might consult with other physicians or even refer you to a specialist, Canslow is part of a network of CSE people and organizations who all have a part to play in keeping the partnership healthy. In fact, CSE employees and managers are encouraged to establish and maintain peer-to-peer partnerships with their NSA counterparts, and Canslow then supports them in these partnerships in myriad ways. Another example of the team approach to partnership. That's like euphemism after euphemism after, like, team approach to partnership, or like global approach to mass surveillance.
Yeah.
Is the annual NSA CSE SIGINT bilateral meeting, which this year was held at NSAW on 15th, 16th of November. The bilat brings our respective SIGINT leaders and counterpart managers together to discuss SIGINT issues that both agencies have identified as priorities, while Canslow plays a supporting role, helping with advanced preparations, attending the meetings and tracking follow-on actions. A report on this year's meeting will be posted soon. There is much more going on in Canslow, but as a final example of how a liaison office keeps a partnership healthy, and to put this medical analogy out of its misery, euthanasia time, everyone needs to eat, and Canslow applies this prescription for health quite literally to our bilateral partnership. One of our most pleasant duties is to host hospitality events, which we see as an opportunity to thank our good NSA partners for their support and contributions. Even if you've never had a chance to attend one of our events, our door is always open. We would love to hear from you, and you never know what kind of Canadian delicacies, see somewhat related article, we might have in the office on any given day.
Wow.
I could know some Canadian activists that would be particularly interested in that document.
Yeah, that's
I'll be
awesome.
right back.
Okay.
If you want to check in on chat, that would be great. I'm so sorry, chat. I haven't looked at you for ages.
No, we're good. I will check it right now. And hi, Jenny Lynn. Good to see you. It looks like we've got a couple of new faces, which is awesome. And I hope that you guys don't feel too overwhelmed. If you have any questions at all that you'd like to throw at us about anything, related to the stream, how this all works, or anything that we've covered so far, feel free to throw that in chat. We'd love to hear from you. Just scrolling through. Kathy B says medical isn't protected. Companies call elders and disabled all the time free products. That's horrible. I haven't heard of that specific phrase. Fly's mentioning a town hall. Barbara says, this was my first protest. I always got to get a copy of my medical records on leaving the docks, and docks notes are where all the trash is. Back in the day, back a long time ago, when when doctors' offices weren't using digital records yet, it was actually a lot easier to get copies of your documents. But now I think they charge you a lot more to get copies, and they really, it's horrendous, because not only do they probably have the NSA probably does have access to this, but also because it's actually really difficult sometimes as a patient to get documentation of your own history, depending on how complicated your history is. Yeah, and Fly points out the connection between the illness and the homeless population, which is a really sad connection, but very true. Yeah, Hope saying they're mixing metaphors. I don't know if I will just be happy if they never use the medical metaphor again. I just think it's a really fantastic example of the NSA using like Orwellian newspeak, because it's the exact opposite of what they mean or intend. I mean, it's like the Orwellian, freedom is slavery type of sentence. So, yeah. So if does anybody have any questions on that, or questions about the article that Dispute Media published about the FISA 702 and the finding that Susie and I made last time about the NSA's dislike of congressional oversight? If you want to throw anything like that into chat, well, I mean, that would be great. If not, that's fine as well.
I just put a tweet about that on my timeline. I'm not convinced that it's entirely newsworthy in and of itself, but it's just pretty sickening.
Definitely. I think it's something to note in our, like in the overall description of the things that we found. I think it's good to include in it, but yeah, I wouldn't exactly want to write an entire article on that horrific metaphor. But
yeah, I guess it is. It's culturally significant, right?
Yeah. It shows the NSA's, their culture. That's a good way to put it.
Okay, I'm adding it to my notes on that basis.
Fly asked Elizabeth, how does it feel to prove the NSA has gone rogue? Well, I think, a lot of people responded to that article by saying what else is new. But the thing is that it's really amazing to be able to, like you said, be able to prove it, and by being able to show a straight up NSA document that is saying that in basically plain terms. So I just hope that people understand when they read that article that is new news, that's never been reported before. And that's the importance, that sums up the importance of this entire series, is that these are documents that nobody has ever scrutinized before, and that should have, that need attention. So.
I'll just put my link to that tweet into chat, and then we'll move on.
Awesome.
Cool, awesome. We have a lot more people have showed up on the stream as well. So hi, everyone who's joined. Okay, hopefully nothing else will be as sickening Sickening seems an ironic choice of words given the
really.
document, but right, here we go, back to the documents. Okay, and Cockatoo, yes, I did have the wrong HTML page, so I fixed that. Proposal, third-party sharing of info on terrorist threats from NSA's Principal Director of Foreign Affairs. NSA and third parties in the Pacific seek to exchange terrorist threat warning info. This sounds very much like something that would be in the Intercept reporting as well. Earlier this month, the NSA and some of our third-party partners from the Pacific area, so this is not the Five Eyes, this is expanded beyond that, met in Hawaii to discuss a new initiative. The plan proposes, completely separate from our existing bilateral relationships with the participants, an immediate collaboration on exchange of threat warning information, offers a communications mechanism whereby NSA will act as a conduit for passing terrorist threat warning information among participating nations, like we did for the 2004 Summer Olympics. See, this is one of the rare documents that actually sounds like it's about something that they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, true.
Most of the documents, the average person probably wouldn't think is in the realm of what the NSA should be doing, but this one actually is. Okay, so it involves Singapore, Thailand, and South Korea. Discussions went well, blah, blah, blah. You're waiting to hear back from them. The conference was eminently successful and the parties were engaged and receptive. While I have your attention, I'd like to say as we reach the end of the year, I find myself marveling at everything we have initiated, experienced, and accomplished. We continue to find new, imaginative, and fruitful ways of reaching out to our partners, enabling them so they can better contribute to our mission. Across the globe and here at home, NSA and FAD, Foreign Affairs Directorate, or Department, have dedicated, or division it must be actually, have dedicated partners in the truest sense of the word. Some are foreigners and some are Americans, but all are associates and colleagues. Without them, we would not have been able to even contemplate some of the progress we've made this year. To all of our partners here and abroad, I want to offer a heartfelt thank you and warm wishes for a wonderful and safe 2005. Next, the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard's top 10 intelligence requirements from the US Coast Guard account manager. So the Coast Guard is a customer of the NSA. Are you feeling a bit busy because everything you have to do before the holidays? That's how the Coast Guard must see itself these days. Their varied missions lead to a plethora of intelligence requirements thanks to the customer scorecard, an S11 initiative designed to measure customers' needs and satisfaction with Signals Intelligence Directorate. We have the top 10 prioritized requirements straight from the Assistant Commandant for Intelligence at Coast Guard HQ in Washington, DC. The Senior Executive Account Manager for the Coast Guard conducted the scorecard discussion in October, and part of the discussion involved USCG's 10 most important mission requirements for the upcoming 6 to 12 months. In the time-honored style of David Letterman, here are the top 10. Number 10, piracy. Number 9, international fisheries. Number 8, alien smuggling. Number 7, international crime and narcotics. Number 6, indications and warning of mass migration. See, like, you wouldn't think that would be above, like, crime and narcotics, would you?
Nope, definitely not.
Why is migration?
And proliferation of weapons of mass destruction is less important than mass migration.
No, it's the other way around. They're doing it backwards. This is in the style of David Letterman, and David Letterman does the least important.
Yeah. I don't follow Letterman. I never really did.
Weapons of mass destruction. Now, you would think, surely that would be number 1. Number 4, ports, waterways, and coastal security. Number 3, electronic intelligence, white ship tracking. What in the hell is a white ship?
I have no idea.
Is that a ship with no flag or mast markings or whatever?
Does anybody in chat know?
Yeah, you guys in chat, please find out for us what is a white ship.
Or if you know, tell us.
Sounds like a ship with no radar or sonar or something, I don't know, something that would make it more difficult to track. Number 2, search and rescue. And number 1, as with many other organizations, is counterterrorism. Now, personally, I would think that counterproliferation, i.e. trafficking of nuclear weapons, should probably be at number 1.
Probably, yeah.
Unless they consider that to be counterterrorism, in which case one would ask why it is separately listed. It would be very interesting to hand out an average American those 10 things on cards and say to them, prioritize these from 1 to 10.
Yeah, and see what they come up with.
See what they come up with. These requirements are supported by many SID elements, including international crime, narcotics, proliferation. Okay, so these are all the divisions that are responsible for these various things. They have support in California and in Florida. Mr. Sloan gave SID very high marks regarding his organization's satisfaction with the relationship. This is just some background on the Coast Guard and what they're responsible for. It became a member of the intelligence community in 2001, part of the cryptologic community in 2002, and became part of the Department of Homeland Security in 2003. Oh, look, here we go. White ship tracking. All non-military, non-public merchant shipping.
Okay, there we go.
So well, I was going to say unregistered vessel, but I guess all vessels are registered, right? Like they're registered at their home, like port of origin or whatever. Believe me, I don't know much about shipping at all, but yeah. I believe that the vessel should be registered, no matter what it is, even if it's like, you know, a family boat or whatever. But that's really interesting that that's at number 2.
Yeah, no, that's what's confusing about that, and I'm hoping that
sorry, it's not number 2, it's at number 3.
But still, that's really high up, and I'm hoping.
And it's also interesting that it's listed as electronic intelligence, like where it says current. What that seems to suggest is that they are conducting electronic mass surveillance on civilian vessels.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like for sure.
That they're actually electronically tracking everyone who's not a shipping vessel or a commercial shipping vessel or military.
Yeah. What would public mean? Government related, or would public mean? I don't know what public means in that sense, because like you, I don't know much about
public merchant shipping. All non-military, non-public merchant shipping. Okay, so it might not be you on your fishing boat. Well,
sure. I might have to look that up.
It's hard to know what they would classify as merchant or not.
Yeah, but the reason that we're focusing on that and bringing it up is because it is listed as their 3rd priority, and so it's a little bit confusing to unless there's something that we're missing about that definition.
White ships are of unspecified purpose. In which case, it would fall into that, presumably. Like, if I buy a boat and decide I'm going to cross the Atlantic, am I then electronically monitored by the Coast Guard via NSA?
Sounds like it. That's what I'm.
Does sound like it. Yeah, that does sound like it.
Another thought to add to our context, I guess. It's not. I don't think it's noteworthy. I was getting tripped up on the definition of that.
I think the top 10 is noteworthy. I think the order of prioritization is noteworthy. Personally.
For sure. Definitely.
What was their specification for what the top 10 are? Top 10 prioritized requirements. So if they had a piece of information about each of the 10, then presumably that's the order they would want to receive them in.
That makes sense.
So counterterrorism comes before search and rescue. white ship tracking. The fact is electronic intelligence is very interesting. So the NSA is not just responsible for spying on the land, it is also responsible for spying on the sea.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting point, definitely.
And in space.
They've got all of their bases covered.
I think I'll actually list that as the point. So not just responsible spying on land, but also on the sea. Okay, next document. Oh, okay, I'm being told it does not include passenger vessels, yachts, cargo vessels, and tankers. So white ships are of unspecified purpose as opposed to those. So, okay, so that, I guess that would be then an unregistered boat, or a boat that had not registered its point of origin and destination.
Yeah, which I suppose makes more logical sense for being a priority for the Coast Guard. Yeah,
logical sense. Okay, the US ambassador visits NSA. The new US ambassador to Thailand made his first directorate level visit to NSA on 8th of December. Mr. Boyce, a career member of the Senior Foreign Service, i.e. a spy basically, has extensive experience in Asia, most recently as Deputy Assistant Secretary for East Asia and Pacific Affairs. He served as the ambassador to Indonesia from 2001 to 2004, a political officer in Bangkok, Deputy Chief of Mission in Bangkok, and as a charge d'affaires in Singapore. He met the director, the Foreign Affairs Directorate, and SCS personnel and attended a roundtable with NSA targets experts to discuss current and emerging intelligence issues and NSA support. Already a fan of SIGINT from his previous postings, explained what type of SIGINT was most useful to him, while the analyst talked about the latest in access and target developments. Overall, Ambassador Boyce's visit to NSA was fruitful both for him. Okay, so really that says nothing at all other than that he visited and who he is. Next, SIGINT requirements course. Deputy Director for Data Acquisition. If you're anything like me and enjoy straying from the path of political correctness, you've probably had a snootful of requirements and the requirements process, and you may have secretly harbored the notion that ignoring the topic might make it go away. Since this is billed as a review of the new requirements course, it is unlikely that they would publish a review panning the course, and you're probably expecting me to tell you the course is better than whatever your favorite pastime may be. It ain't gonna happen. The topic is just not a lot of fun. If, on the other hand, we're to have any hopes of dealing with the challenges of the future and you want to make sure the solutions of the future make it easier to do our job and produce intelligence that matters, it is important for each and every one of us to understand and master the essentials of the operational requirements process. The course will not keep you on the edge of your seat, but it conveys the essential information you need to make the process work for you. Okay, so they're just trying to convince people to do this boring thing. So what is the boring thing? A 3-day course. But no, more in-depth 3-day courses available for non-executives. So executives get to go the short course. The operational requirements and capabilities executive overview is developed as a 4-hour course in a workshop format designed to assist senior and middle level leaders to understand the operational requirements and capabilities approach, how it contributes to identifying, analysing and developing both non-material and material solutions to major operational technology and systems challenges facing the agency. Emphasise the needs to recognise and deal with the gaps between today's architecture and the agency's future need. This is pretty boring indeed, because it doesn't actually tell us any of what those are. So I'm going to skip that. All it tells us is that they have future needs, but no more details.
Well, it's good to be breezing through some of these documents.
Yeah, I'm trying not to make people have to listen to every single word. SCS local support reporting to evolve into first instance end product reporting. From reporting policy and guidance. With Director NSA's blessing and in keeping with transformational efforts to make SIGINT more user-friendly and available to customers as soon in the process as feasible. See, they're really trying to cut down that like analytical time and just push the data straight to the customers, which is something we've seen from previous documents.
Yeah, I think that trend is noteworthy in and of itself, in combination with the other documents that indicate it, for sure.
I think actually, I'm just going to take this off share for a second. I think actually that database reporting document that where we learned that they changed the rules so that they could just give the entire database set to a customer rather than just giving them the precise information that they had requested, actually just giving them the whole plot of it. I think that was actually one of our most significant discoveries to date.
I agree.
The implications of that are huge. And the fact that that particular NSA employee took literally offense or took umbrage with that and made no bones about it, I think that was very significant as well.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, so back to the doc. If we have our first ever boring stream, I'm going to be amazed because all of our other streams have been like groundbreaking revelation, groundbreaking discovery. And so far, this is mostly just like process documentation.
Yeah, well, there's two good things about that. The first is that we would end up finishing the stream. Yeah, I mean, finishing the batch in this stream, if everything's pretty much, a breeze. And then the other thing that's good about that is it means we'll have less to write about when we compile.
I have a short novel to write about this batch already. So.
Yeah, exactly, because it's been so intense the last couple of streams.
Okay, so they're rolling out first instance, they're phasing out local support reports and rolling out first instance reporting. First instance reporting refers to end product reporting, which normally focuses on targets, issues, and personalities of specific interest to local SIGINT customers, but may include information addressing national level priorities. Interesting. This reporting is derived from field collection facilities with limited or no access to national level analytic databases and sources. Therefore, it may include only part of the story. Users of this information should strive to match the information with other sources, and as with all reporting, stay vigilant for additional NSA extended enterprise reporting.
That phrase, I hate that phrase.
Extended enterprise?
Yeah.
It's like...
It sounds like they think they're on Star Trek. Yeah.
It's like the NSA empire. LSRs, local support reporting, produced by SCS sites worldwide, historically were disseminated to a limited customer set and could not be used by them in briefings, summaries, assessments, etc., until the NSAW Target Office of Primary Interest had evaluated the information fully and issued the information in an end product report. First instance reporting allows all customers interested in and cleared for SIGINT on a given topic to receive the information produced by the field sites without waiting first for the evaluation and reissue of that information in an end product. The initiative also allows customers to request post-publication services.
Interesting. Release, foreign release, identity release? Huh.
Related to the first instance reporting. The sites currently producing the reports will transition to the new first instance reporting between now and January 2005. It will include a caveat underscoring the fact that the information has not been verified by the local target office of primary interest, which is like the conduit. It's like the conduit office to the country, to the territory. This initiative will replace local support reports with which some customers are familiar and is intended to make the SIGINT produced by the field collection facilities more accessible to a broader audience and easier for customers to use. Will generally be disseminated to any customer that has a need and is cleared for the information. They've already said that. These will be ORCON only when the sensitivity of the content requires that handling. Customers may use any non-ORCON information immediately in summaries, assessments, etc., without waiting for NSA HQ to review and reissue the information in another format. As a reminder, information is derived from field collection facilities with limited or no access to national level analytic databases and sources. Therefore, okay, they're just repeating themselves over and over. In addition, customers may request approval from the post-publication services branch for ORCON release, foreign release, or US identity release based on an FIR. This was not possible with local support court reports. I'm just going to skim through this because I'm not convinced that it's anything other than them cutting some tape, not actually on the NSA side, but on the customer side.
Yeah, which is something we've seen before. So this just continues that trend.
Well, this is cutting it on the customer side. What we've seen before is them cutting it on the NSA side, and I consider the NSA side to be more significant. I mean, technically, the target office of primary interest is NSA, but this is really about the customers. The country is the country that's receiving the information.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The localized area that is receiving the information. If anyone knows different, feel free to correct me, but I don't actually think this is particularly interesting. For these reasons, these reports will carry the following caveat to remind customers that information has not been fully analysed or verified by NSA HQ. Warning notice, this is a first instance report which contains information not verified by NSA. The part that I'm confused about is that who they're actually cutting out of the chain is the TOPI, the Target Office of Primary Interest. Could not be used until the NSA's Target Office of Primary Interest at whichever location these asterisks is. No, this is a reference to the bottom, which will tell us Target Office of Primary Interest. I take it back. Right. So they can push it back and request that it be verified by NSA, and that means it becomes an ORCON report, originator controlled report. But without that, it is not verified. So again, this is where they're just collecting it and handing it over then.
I keep getting this random, weird, like really loud audio feedback.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yes. I don't know if it's me or you or both or YouTube or what. It shouldn't be YouTube. I have YouTube muted.
Does anyone in chat, is blah blah here or does anyone have anything to add about this document? I've got the niggling feeling that I'm not really understanding the full significance of this.
I have that feeling often.
I feel that this is not a big deal at all, but I also feel that I might not understand exactly whether or not it is. So I'd be interested to see what anybody else has to say about that. Let's have a quick look in chat and see if anyone knows more than me.
That audio interference is really loud. I'm not sure what that is.
I can turn my volume down. Maybe that will help. I'm not sure.
Yeah, or I'll do the same. I'll put mine about halfway. I've noticed that sometimes before. It just hasn't been quite as loud.
Okay, it looks like chat is in an intense political debate about other things.
Yeah, chat just like sometimes just ignores us and just goes off on its own thing, which is, I think for a file like that is fine because it was sort of like zoning me out as well. But yeah, I hope that maybe somebody even just watching in future might know a little bit more about that. If so, let us know.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that one be. Next one's a repost. I'm going to actually, there's a couple of, there's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 reposts in a row.
Oh, great. Well, that'll shorten things down.
Ones that we've done before. Oh my God, every single one of those.
Does that mean we just finished the whole batch or what?
Life in Alice is done. Academia to the Agency is done. Life in the Big Apple is in New York. One done. Interview with the Dice is the one with the executive where he's saying like you need to be an amnesiac to be successful.
Yeah. I remember that.
Youth jobs, NSA has held in a former life. That's done. Things you should know about information sharing, done. Back from Baghdad, done. Dropping anchor in Anchorage, done. Eye-opening experience in Haiti. Okay, so there's 2 in Haiti, which I actually am pretty sure were reported on by the Intercept. Assisting in the hunt for Al-Qaeda leadership was definitely done by the Intercept. Raul responds. Ask Raul. Oh my God, we are nearly finished.
How close are we? What are we up to?
It's like 4 documents left. Literally. And they're really straightforward ones. So let's just get through it and we can just hang out with people for a little while to celebrate the end of the batch. Eye-opening experience in Haiti. I definitely remember the Haiti stuff being in, I mean, it might be interesting to you guys. It's relatively topical.
Yeah, Disobedient Media, my colleague William Craddock has done a lot of reporting on Haiti, and it's been a central part of some of our reporting on human trafficking type topics. But so yeah, this is interesting to me. But if the Interceptors reported on it previously, I'll just go read their reporting.
Because my voice, I've been doing too much talking, my throat.
Yeah, I get the same thing. I will gladly read through this. But yeah, if somebody in chat can go find whether the Intercept has reported on this, then that would be awesome too. But I'm just going to read through right now. First paragraph is labeled secret, and it says, this past year, I had the opportunity to spend 2 months at a NIST as a NIST analyst in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The deployment was a classic NIST operation in that it was designed to be temporary, and the entire team was composed of personnel from several intelligence agencies, including the NSA, CIA, NGA, and DIA. However, the deployment was problematic from the beginning. To start with, it had to be organized at the last minute since the US troop deployment to Haiti came about unexpectedly. Adding to the confusion, it was Southcom, US Southern Command, HQ, that requested the NIST deployment and not the Marines on the ground in Haiti. As a result of this, there was some friction on site between the Marines running the military compound and our NIST team. Gear that would normally deploy with the NIST was left behind because NIST planners had been told that tents, electric power, and air conditioning would be provided on site. When we arrived, none of this equipment was available, and we had to send for our gear. As a result, the normal setup period of 24 hours turned into more than a week, during which period I read several books and tried to stay hydrated. And then it continues. It says, we finally received all of our gear, but only after spending a week in a basic tent with a few fans and a lot of hot computer gear. This miserably hot experience was replicated later in the final weeks of the deployment when our generator's power core fused together, creating, in the words of an engineer back at NSA, a giant paperweight. On the worst days without AC, it would take me 15 minutes to blah, blah, blah. The biggest operational hurdle to overcome in an environment like Haiti is simple operational familiarity. While many of the military operations with CENTCOM, Central Command, are now familiar with the value-added capabilities that a NIST-type element can provide, this is certainly not always the case elsewhere. The military is designed to operate as an organic unit, and for a unit from Southcom unaccustomed to working with national-level intelligence assets, the NIST functions like a synthetic organ or body part. Here we go again. The Marine host tried to incorporate the new piece as best it could. With this in mind, strong communication between NIST leaders and military commanders is essential both early and often. And then it says top secret. The biggest example of the biggest advantage of being forward deployed is that you have physical access to people on the ground as well as electronic connectivity to the analytic core back at NSAW. This is an amazingly potent combination and can outweigh the disadvantage that most forward deployed analysts do not have years of background on target they are working. That does not sound right. Anyway, remember that every person you physically contact while forward deployed represents someone that is often beyond the reach of the target analyst at the fort. And the next paragraph is also top secret, and it says, so while I was very limited in my knowledge of the target when I arrived in Haiti, my access to target knowledge was unmatched. The Caribbean and Haiti target offices are representative of so many that struggle here in the agency. They are 5 to 7 people deep, but they do the work of 50. Their production is top notch and blah, blah, blah. They're wonderful. And then within NIST itself, the CIA personnel often have years of experience in the target, and they have their own access to personnel and historical databases for targets of interest. And then I think that's about it, actually. Yeah, talking about dining and dining.
Okay, we do need to know if the Intercept reported on that.
Yeah. I agree.
Because those the top secret passages are very interesting. Very interesting. Because think about what is in them that they would be classified top secret. Usually something classified top secret. Usually when we see something that's classified top secret, it's relating to a current operation or like by name. or a certain location by name. In this case, it's not. It's not referring to a specific program. So what these two paragraphs is referring to are areas where the NSA is lacking.
Sorry. So yeah, if somebody in chat could please just look up while we read through the next Haiti doc, if these were reported on by The Intercept, that would be fantastic. I know you guys love having your own conversations, and I really appreciate you guys interacting, but if somebody could please look that up, that would be amazing.
Okay, this is the second document if you want to read through.
Yeah, sure. Are we on the second document already? Okay. It says, it starts off with a top secret paragraph saying, all this connectivity is fantastic and perhaps enough to perform a satisfactory job, but the real combat multiplier is augmenting this access with personal contacts on the ground. By physically being in Haiti, I had regular access to US Embassy personnel, the CJTF Haiti Marine J2 Director of Intelligence, Marine Radio Battalion operators during tactical SIGINT, SOCOM planners, and operators who were in charge of the missions going against Haitian high-value targets, and Canadian SIGINT personnel working the Haiti deployment in a camp right next to ours, the Tarex team sent to do surveys of Port-au-Prince and Haiti, and the CJTF Haiti counterintelligence team that often roamed the countryside working on leads. As a result, I was able to act as a two-way transmission point for collection items from these assets on the ground back in Haiti back to the target office of primary interest.
So this you would expect to be top secret because it's referring to specific teams.
Yeah.
There's a lot more information in them. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Two examples come to mind, and this is also top secret. On occasion, the CJTF HCI team leader passed me some notes from a trip to the Central Highlands of Haiti, where they met with rebel leaders who controlled the area. During this trip, they had collected several telephone numbers of these leaders and their associates. Within a week of my passing these numbers to Topi, we began to see multi-page reports of conversations between one important rebel leader and his wife, which provided insight into his negotiating position and plans for control of the Central Highlands. One report was immediately briefed to the CJTF J3 Director of Operations and had a direct impact on our negotiations with the rebel leader. On another occasion, the CJTF Director of Operations passed me a French Creole document that contained a list of the new Haiti police commissioners and their telephone numbers. I was only too happy to pass this on to the target office of primary interest. Wait, no, that's wrong. Anyway, Topi as well. And then the next paragraph also, these are all top secret. It says, an eye-opening experience for both me and Topi back here at NSAW was the realization that some customers are looking for a different kind of product than what is produced from most SIGINT customers. This takes some getting used to because often we are conditioned to pass on only the data that meets the criteria for normal SIGINT reporting. One of the surge efforts performed by Topi was to send out gists with a quick translation of every HVT-related conversation with the time of the call, etc., a simplified and streamlined KL in effect. What I discovered is that the Special Forces operators love this kind of reporting because it allowed them to corroborate SIGINT reporting with their own human access. One operator was actually with a source in Haiti when the source received a telephone call. Operators used the SIGINT gists to help corroborate who and when the calls were made between sources and HVTs. So while the call itself was of inconsequential value to the normal SIGINT customers, there was a very high value to the tactical customers on the ground. I received several emails from people who were incredulous that a conversation between an HVT target and his girlfriend was of any importance. The truth is that a lot of SIGINT leavings that never make it into normal SIGINT reports are actually valuable intelligence items for tactical warfighters. In fact, sometimes they are the most important elements of information for warfighters. We may like the crust cut off of our peanut butter sandwiches, but that does not mean that others would wish the same. As for Haiti itself, it was both haunting and amazing. The people are friendly, there's much to see. best food, etc., etc. And this paragraph is also top secret. He's just like praising Haiti. The land has been so devastated from deforestation that the nation is always one natural disaster away from catastrophe, which I expect to be the cycle for the foreseeable future. I don't see why that's top secret. But anyway, next paragraph. I was thrilled at the opportunity to drive around the city and was amazed at how much fun I had behind the wheel. Chaotic streets. I grew to love Haiti. Also oddly top secret. And then the next paragraph is, I am ecstatic that I was able to participate in the contingency NIST deployment to Haiti. This kind of experience is something to keep in mind next time a hotspot, blah, blah.
I'd say this is why.
Yeah.
Because if the director of the NSA goes and gives a press conference, he'll be saying, we're making wonderful progress and everything's totally fantastic. I mean, I just watched it today I watched the CIA director give his whole press conference, whatever interview, an hour of it. And he's saying, we've made great progress on this, we've made great progress on that. Our capabilities are so much more than they used to be. So when you have an NSA staff member saying it's a shit show and it's probably not going to get better, that's why it's top secret.
That makes sense. And then it looks like Kathy B is showing that The Intercept reported on this. I'm just going to check to make sure it's the exact documents. Oh, wait. No, Kathy B, that's just the file itself. Thank you for looking that up. But we're talking about whether they wrote an article about it. But thank you for searching.
I can just show you guys where to find that. So you go to Intercept. You wait for it to load. You go to Documents and you go to Snowden Archive SIDToday Files. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the update. That's like when they've released the last batch. So this is batch 5, for example. And then they put here the reporting that they did based on that batch. So usually they will do one like this one here, where it says, and other stories from internal NSA documents. It's like a roundup. It's like the article where they list all the interesting things they thought in the batch. Then they will have a few articles that are on specific things. So this one's about file sharing apps. This one is about a base in England, and this one is about Ethiopia. And then everything else that they thought was interesting, they just shove into this one article. So what you need to do is then scroll down to the release for batch 4. And then you would need to go up here and look and find, actually you would have to go to all updates here. And then you would scroll down to batch 4, which is here, April 24th, 2017. So they did one on Japan, one on the NSA blimp, one on the DNC and RNC, and then they did this one, which is other, so-called other tales. So you would need to open this, Control F Haiti, eavesdropping in Haiti after 2004. They tracked high value targets, and this is exactly what we're talking about. These are the documents we've just read.
Yeah, so these are the documents.
This is the Pakistan documents that we just saw before that we didn't actually read because I knew they were in here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Now it looks like that cow one looks like it's the Department of Agriculture. So that's one that we would not need to include in the reporting. So I can actually just check in my notes and see if I did in fact put the Department of Agriculture in our list. If I did, then I can take it off. I don't think so, actually. No, I don't think I put the Department of Agriculture stuff in there.
Good deal. Yeah, I don't think that was exactly worth its own article, but you know, it's good to shave stuff off of what we need to combine into our overall reporting.
Amazing, like how many findings we have though for this batch is definitely the most.
Yeah, there were a lot.
Just so far.
And they were pretty much all really important too.
Right. So that's how you assess if interceptors reported on it or not. Generally speaking, they report on anything about Iraq, anything about it's very like locational. Like for some reason, if it's about a specific country, they tend to report on it. But what they haven't really reported on is a lot of this like culture of the NSA stuff and the UN stuff. I'm not sure why. I think they've had an article about NSA and UN, but not kind of the ongoing, evolving understanding that we've been able to get from reading the documents. And so I think that's where the strength has been of Decipher, is that we really are focusing on the culture of the NSA.
Yeah, absolutely.
The things that the NSA is saying to its own workforce, as opposed to the things that NSA is saying about X country or Y country.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll jump back to the documents. So we can close down the hiatus stuff. We've only got 3 left in the batch.
Wow, and we're almost like going to have just a full like 2 hour or hour and a half-ish stream. So that's pretty great.
Okay, Raul responds. So Raul is like their technical assistant, like their help desk guy, who is technically is a D&I analyst, but he seems to be their go-to guy for technical questions. I wonder which article he was talking about. It was the PDF processing. Haha.
Oh yeah, that one.
Apparently that struck a few chords in NSA. Ooh wee, he says, dog my cats and corn my pone. My last article obviously hit a few nerves, so I'll provide a little feedback to the feedback. Even as old and ancient as I am, I can still learn a few things. First, in all future articles, I'll be absolutely sure to specify things so as not to allow folks to read into what my point is. Also, I have to be careful in my choice of words. So that sounds like he might have gotten a bit of trouble for his Osama bin Laden comment.
Yeah, really.
In my last article, I used the word considered, meaning a well thought out response by both technical and managerial sides of the house to the PDF processing problem. I did not simply mean whether anyone, while eating a hamburger or chewing a stick of gum, had happened to consider any of the issues I mentioned in the article. Obviously, many folks, including myself, had. Whether anyone had considered the issues at all was not my point. Mea culpa. Having said that, here we go. Before we start skinning the chipmunks, let me spell out a few of the requirements. One, or at least Raul would surely think should have gone into a considered solution. Here they are. I'm not really sure that this is going to be particularly interesting.
It's not, yeah, it definitely sounds like somebody got angry at him because it made them look like they hadn't considered the problem at all. And he was talking about, well, I meant, well, when I said considered, I meant this, this, and this. So interesting.
Huh. So he's suggesting that perhaps there might be a solution, but it's not widely available to the analysts. Okay, I will read through them. There are 2 areas to be addressed: processing for selection and filtering, and processing for display. If we can come up with one solution adequate for both, fine. If not, we'll have to have multiple solutions. In both cases above, the processors have to be capable of handling damaged data, no exception here. Whatever the solution is, it has to be readily available to the analyst, i.e. available via the standard processing and display tools and compatible with the operating system the analyst uses, which is a Microsoft operating system. If I have to call 10 people, mail or FTP the thing, and then wait days, weeks, or months for a response, and then perhaps go to a special computer to view the output, well, that's just not going to cut it. You'd be amazed at how many people around here think that is a perfectly reasonable way of doing business. Since we are the NSA, the process has to be able to handle foreign language material, and if used for selection and filtering, must output all text and images in standard formats that are compatible with standard processing and display tools. The appropriate resources have to be made available to ensure success. Success doesn't mean perfection. Let's say it's that famous 80% solution. 80% though does not mean it does 4 or 5 things and doesn't do the 5th at all. Now, having said all that, let me note that not one alternative sent as feedback fit the bill. Either the solution couldn't handle damaged data or foreign text, or wasn't available to the masses, or was no better and perhaps worse than just trying to slog along with Adobe Acrobat Reader 4. Bin Laden is still safe, and we, to the best of my knowledge, still have no reasonable solution to the PDF problem. But in case I'm wrong and you have a working solution that meets the requirements above, please let me know. Wow, so he must have seriously got some pushback.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Actually, that document would be important to include just as context on the PDF stuff.
Yeah, just to say after he published that particular Osama bin Laden referencing document, then he got pushed back that he then had to respond to. Definitely.
Role response. Okay, that was it. Next one. Ask role, damaged data. I get an awful lot of damaged attachments. Is there anything I can do within reason to help this? Yes. Okay, let's see if this is actually of use. They had a satellite parked over Vladivostok. That's as interesting as it gets. Huh, every single file was corrupted. Interesting. The decision had been made to task the signal at Bad Aibling, a mere 1/3 of the way around the world from Vladivostok. And of course, the antenna was depressed to such a low elevation, the signal was being picked up through the surrounding pine forests and in the process was dropping out. So satellites can be obstructed. In other words, we were suffering from a self-inflicted SIGINT wound. Should have been done from Japan. Rule number 1, make sure you're collecting a signal from the right site. Another problem is our equipment. Things don't work as advertised. This is somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
For 6 weeks. For 6 weeks, they had failed to notice.
For 5 years.
A misconfiguration had been in place for 5 years and no one caught it. Oh my God. Rule number 2 is make sure things are working. Relying on the traffic fairies will get you in trouble. Remember, damage doesn't just happen, something causes it, and it is definitely much better to prevent than to try and fix. Here are some things you can do if you find yourself sitting there pulling your hair out, crying over your damaged base 64 encoded Word document from Osama. He's got an obsession with Osama bin Laden.
I at least enjoy his writing a little bit better than the whoever it was that was obsessed with health and body metaphors.
Okay. He's just back on the decoding path.
Does this mean we're almost to our last document of this entire batch? Is that what this
is? We are 1 minute away. Okay, I think that this is worth reporting on.
5 years.
The fact that collection can be going on for years before someone works out that it's not actually functional.
Yeah, it's at least worth a line.
Okay, this is in fact the last document of the batch. Ask Rob, getting the most from metadata from a DNI analyst. Dear Raoul, I'm swamped with metadata and things that look like metadata. Can you think of something important and easy that I should be able to use from all the metadata we generate, which would provide a quick and easy payoff? I feel your pain, Betsy. To get directly to your question, let me recommend the fields object linking and embedding. Back to Microsoft Office.
So he's just like smack head desk moment. So it's a how-to document.
So this process is information you can use to track your target, such as the company name, author, and last author. You know, Adam Carter. This is his area of expertise.
Yeah. And the forensicator also was very interested in metadata.
So in this case, they're talking about the metadata of an Office file.
Yeah.
Be it Excel or Word or whatever.
Yeah. For anybody who's familiar with the debunking of the Russian hacking narrative that Adam Carter and the forensicator have both contributed to, metadata is a huge word in that subject. And it's been a big word over the last 6 months or so in that whole area.
Look.
Wow.
Okay. That is it, my friends.
That is the quiet ending of batch 4.
Batch. Yeah, sorry for not reading through the last one, but I didn't think that you guys would be particularly fascinated by all that Unicode base 64 stuff. It is potentially of interest to some journalists, but we already discussed it previously, so I didn't feel the need to go over it again. The Raoul guy is pretty interesting. He's pretty candid. He's very typical geek, actually.
Yeah. I kind of liked reading his writing. It was a little bit more humorous, and also, like you said, a little bit more honest. It seemed like he doesn't seem to use what do you want to call it? Those buzzword catchphrases and terrible analogies that we see in some of the other documents.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions for us or anything that you want to talk about? Otherwise, we'll call it a night, nice and early.
Yeah, that's amazing. We've only just been going
thank you.
2 hours and we're already done with batch 4. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, for those who don't know, like Susie said earlier, and I don't know how many of you that are with us right now have been with us since sort of the beginning, but basically how many, I mean, there were a lot of episodes on batch 4, like at least 12 or 13, right? Is that about correct? I mean, hours and...
I'm not sure precisely which episode we started on. I'll probably be able to answer that question soon because I'm doing the repost of episodes on Steemit. So soon enough, I'll discover when it was that we started this batch. But it was definitely the most fruitful, in the words of the NSA, was the most fruitful batch to date for findings. When I've done the write-up for Decipher You, there will be by far the longest list of discoveries of any single batch. I expect that the next batch will be even more so. It will probably take us even longer to get through, and we'll probably find more stuff in it, because it seems that post 2001, every year it's ramping up. It's continually more and more new stuff is happening at NSA. It'll be very, very interesting. So the next batch dates from January 2005 to December 2005. So if they release a batch 6, presumably that would be 2006. And if they keep going annually like that, eventually we should get all the way up to 2013.
Yeah, and if we
oh my God, it will start to get incredible. I can't wait to see like 2011 onwards.
Yeah, really.
That'll be, for me personally, that will be the most relevant content.
Definitely.
But I'm actually really happy that they did it the way they've done it. There was a lot of criticism that, the stuff is so old and it's not relevant. But by going through in chronological order, it has forced us to get this base of foundational knowledge. And so each time that we're reading through a new year's documents, a new batch of documents, we're doing so from a position of already understanding chronologically what's come before that. And that is completely changing the way that we then analyze the documents. So
definitely,
it's increasing our effectivity, our effectiveness in being able to analyze them.
And if we run out of Snowden documents to analyze before they come out with a new batch, then we will always be able to switch over to WikiLeaks files and continue, or if it's there at some point. But we'll just see how things turn out.
I think it's like we're way overdue for someone to take a similar approach to what we're doing with Decipher You for WikiLeaks documents. So I agree. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I think it would be really fun.
And we'll never ever run out of documents with over 10 million published. Oh my gosh.
We would have to refine it to like one subset of a publication or something, because there's just too many. I mean, that would be millions of documents. That would be multiple lifetimes of work.
Definitely.
Yeah, we would be 10 years from now, we might get, if we went through every single file in even one of their releases, we would probably take like how many years of work. So.
Okay, let's see. Any other questions?
Thank you all for sticking with us.
Thank you guys so much.
You're all awesome and we appreciate it a lot. And this means, because we're done with the batch now, this does mean, as we were mentioning earlier, this means that Susie and I will both be producing some writing on these findings from batch 4. And it may take a little bit because there was so much in this batch, but we will be really proud, happy, and excited to read, just to show you all our work once it's done.
Yeah, it'll be super cool to be able to see it all in one place. Like really cool. Okay, thank you guys so much for sitting through that with us. And to those of you who've been here like every single episode, you're amazing, totally amazing. And it's cool to see new faces as well.
Absolutely. I hope you come back.
Thank you. Keep an eye out for our summary articles in the coming days, and we will see you soon. Yeah, and all these links, like pay attention to all these links that Fly's posting, because if you want to contact us during the week, we actually have a Discord channel. It would be really cool if anyone wants to donate. That would be amazing.
Yeah, we have a Patreon link that people can donate to now. So. And if you want, I will throw that into chat unless somebody else is going to do it. But yeah, I mean, and the Patreon is not there to pressure anyone into donating. It's just if you feel like supporting us financially, that would be amazing. And I think people feel like they have to donate a lot, but every like a $1 donation a month is a huge deal, and it's really, really appreciated.
I got donated on my PayPal this week $150 US, which for me I was really excited and happy about. and it literally went straight to my lawyer. So thank you so much. It literally helps to keep me alive and in one piece.
And then, so I've just posted the Patreon, and like I said, if you can just spare $1 a month, that would be amazing. No pressure. But also, God, now I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, we also have a Decipher You Reddit, a Reddit sub, and I've mentioned this before, but for anybody who's new and wants to catch up on some of our older findings, just so you don't feel lost, there all of our findings and all of the articles we've written about the findings and individual segments that Fly and Cockatoo have been amazing enough to put together for us. All of that is in the Reddit, and so you can search through and see if you find anything interesting there if you want to. And that's about all. And I think, I don't know if Fly has thrown the Discord link in there, but yeah, if you guys want to talk to us during the week, like Suzie said, feel free to join us in Discord if you would like to. I'm just looking through chat 1 second. Yeah, so Fly, if you're interested in the Discord channel, Fly has posted it in chat if you scroll up a little bit.
And I'm just meant to say that we do in fact have a new YouTube channel for Decipher You. It's hosted on, this is hosted on my personal channel right now that you guys are viewing on. But on the Decipher You channel, you can see properly titled and dated, commented, everything videos. So by all means, go and subscribe to that. It would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks guys. I'm going to enjoy my early night tonight.
Yeah.
It's been really great. Yeah. Thank you all so much. And we will see you soon in a couple of days' time.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.